One message, with now over 50,000 stories. It gets better. They touched hearts, drew tears, and brought smiles to faces. You never know when your story can change a life or when it can change the world.
Just because I'm transgender doesn't mean I'm not black anymore. You know, when I also think about being black, I think about growing up in the black church and how that was the place where I started performing for the first time. And it was such a positive influence on my life. And that history doesn't go away. And the positive influence that the black church has had on me as an African American does not go away because I'm transgender.
이상하게 생각을 했어. 그런데 그 여자친구를 만나도 좋은 환경에서 자란 아이, 그렇고 공부한 아이, 사회에 나가서 활동할 만한 건강하고 저기 육체적으로나 정신적으로나 건강한 아이하고 사귀는 건 괜찮지. 그래가지고 둘이 네가 행복하다 그러면 할머니도 별수 없는 거야. 네 자유니. 대한민국 국민이 와가지고 이렇게 니들을 낳았거든. 그러니까 여 미국에서 난 아이니까 미국에 네가 큰 사람이 돼가지고 이 나라에 대해서 뭐 할 사람으로 난 믿고 있었거든.
She recently met my girlfriend, Jamie, over Christmas, and Jamie brought her some gifts, and of course, Grandma liked that a lot.
Hello. How are you? Yeah. How are you? 그 아이 같으면 괜찮겠더라고. 아이가 활발하고 암만 외국 아이라고 인상이 좋아. 그러니까 그런 아이 같으면 괜찮고 그냥 널 사랑하지 할머니는. 널 사랑하지 그럼 할머니는 너 잘 되는 걸 보고 할머니가 하늘로 가야지. 딴 거 없어.
Ông với mấy bà lớn tuổi như tôi, con rồi vậy đó, mà lỡ mà nó có mà BD á, thì tất nhiên là ông bà hay là các cô chú cũng phải chấp nhận nó thôi, không phải là cái đó là nó muốn.
It's called the Dyke March. Oh yeah, Dyke. So Dyke. What does Dyke mean? So Dyke means it's a woman. It's a woman march. Yep. It's a woman march.
Prototypical coming out narrative is based in pretty Western values. So, for instance, one, the valuing of individualism over all else. So in the coming out narrative, we have this rugged individual, a protagonist essentially, whose ultimate goal is to self-actualize or be who she really is. And two, there's this value of verbal communication over nonverbal communication. There's this verbal declaration, a telling of I am gay or lesbian or trans or whatever. And three, there's this investment in binary thinking. There's a closet and you're either in it or out. And my play forces people to ask questions and to think, what if I come from a culture that doesn't value individualism in the same way? And what if I come from a culture that has really beautiful and nuanced ways of communicating non-verbally or through silence? And what if we really force ourselves to tear down this whole notion of the closet and rethink this whole in-out dichotomy? Well, welcome to the world of Fortunate.
For me, pronouns and hormones and surgery, however cliche that might seem, is what affirms me and myself and my authentic self. So for me, transitioning is both a social thing and a medical thing. But I really want to make sure that everyone understands that everyone transitions differently.
और मेरे अंगने में तुम्हारा क्या काम है, मेरे अंगने में तुम्हारा क्या काम है, जो है नाम वाला, अरे जो है नाम वाला वो ही तो बदनाम है, मेरे अंगने में तुम्हारा क्या काम है.
The activism and education of South Asians after 9/11 and the 9/11 backlash against South Asians has given me a sense of racial politics that I didn't know I could develop. And so that's been, in whatever way, productive to make me aware of institutionalized and systemic forms of racism. I think that's always the potential of art and performance, is that you're forced to engage, but that's the intent of VOR, is that it's really aware that the audience is going to be pulled in, be part of it, be forced to think, and so the audience is kept in mind.
She was just crying, like, I don't know what's gonna happen to me. Am I gonna go to hell? You know, my daughter's gonna burn in hell. You know, the way you grew up, I taught you so many times not to be this, and I don't understand why you're like this.
I left the house in November just because of physical confrontation between my parents and myself, and I could no longer take the atmosphere at home.
I remember
I think it's just so important to be able to share about this. But I mean, I think because I had gone through so much pain and came to this point in my life when I wrestled with, like, God, you know, if you were God, why did you have to make me this way?
One of the difficult things after our daughter came out was for me to sit and watch a baptism, because they said the same words to Valerie and they didn't follow through, and she said it was the church that caused her pain.
When our daughter came out, my dream of walking her down the aisle was blown apart.
I witnessed a tragedy of a gay person who was still in the closet.